So, picture this. These are the words of a patriarch on his deathbed. And it's not a plea for comfort. No, it's a final, powerful charge to his sons. This is a command that's going to echo through generations, setting the stage for one of the most pivotal moments in their entire history. Okay, let's dive into this epic transfer of power.
We are jumping into the final chapter of Jacob's life. And this isn't just a story about an ending, it's about the calculated, prophetic, and absolutely world-altering beginnings he set in motion right from his deathbed. We're talking destiny, inheritance, and a blessing that defied every single tradition.
So, Jacob, who we now know as Israel, is 147 years old. For the last 17 of those years, he's been living in Egypt, safe under the protection of his son Joseph, the one he thought was lost forever. But now he can feel his final days are coming, and he has one last, incredibly crucial task to make sure his people have a future.
As Jacob lies there, sick, his first concern isn't even for himself. He calls for Joseph, but not to say some personal goodbye. No, he needs to lock down a promise that will tie the future of his entire family back to their ancestral homeland.
Now, this is so much more than a simple burial request. It's a massive statement of faith. By making Joseph swear this oath, Jacob is spiritually chaining his descendants to the land God promised them. He's making sure they never ever forget where their true home is, even while they're living in the heart of Egypt.
The word gets out. Jacob is gravely ill. Joseph hears the news, and he rushes to his father's side. And here's the key part. He doesn't come alone. He brings his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, into that quiet, lamplit room, setting the scene for a moment that will literally define their destiny.
You know, when Joseph walks in, you can just feel the weight of the moment. He's not just a politician. There's this calm confidence, this discipline about him that shows he gets it. He understands he's the bridge between his father's past and his own son's future.
And then, gathering all his strength, Jacob sits up and drops an absolute bombshell. He formally adopts Joseph's two sons. He elevates Ephraim and Manasseh to the exact same status as his own firstborn sons, Reuben and Simeon. Think about what that means. Jacob is effectively giving Joseph a double portion of the inheritance, a right that should have gone to the firstborn son. This is huge. In this one moment, it's like Jacob's entire life just converges. He's thinking about God's promise to make him a great nation. He's looking at his grandsons who were born in this foreign land, and he's remembering that deep, deep sorrow of losing his beloved wife, Rachel. The past, the present, and his memories. It's all fueling what he's about to do next.
So Joseph, always the organized one, sets up his sons exactly according to custom. Manasseh, the firstborn, is placed at Jacob's right hand to get that primary blessing. Ephraim, the younger son, is at his left. Everything is set up for a traditional, by-the-book transfer of blessing, or so it seems.
And then it happens. In this deliberate, absolutely shocking move that sends ripples through history, Jacob crosses his hands. He stretches out his right hand, the hand of the greater blessing, and places it not on the firstborn, Manasseh, but on the head of the younger son, Ephraim. His left hand ends up on Manasseh.
Joseph immediately gets upset. He thinks his father's eyesight is failing, that this is all a terrible mistake. He actually grabs Jacob's hand, trying to fix this so-called error, trying to put things back in the proper order. You can just imagine the tension in that room. But Jacob's answer is so firm, so resolute. This was no mistake. He says, "I know, my son, I know." He is intentionally playing out a divine pattern, one that has repeated itself throughout their family's history. The younger gets elevated over the elder. I mean, it's a theme Jacob knows from his own life, right? And with this one act, he seals a future where the younger son's descendants will become a multitude of nations, far surpassing the elder. But Jacob's prophetic work? Oh, it wasn't done. Not by a long shot. The next day, he summons all 12 of his sons, and with his dying breaths, he's about to speak prophecies over each of them, laying the very foundation for the 12 tribes of Israel and their own unique destinies.
First up, Judah, and his prophecy is all about raw power and leadership. Jacob calls him a young lion, a symbol of royalty and strength that is going to define his family line forever.
This right here, this is the prophecy that establishes Judah's lineage as the royal line. It's from him that the kings of Israel will come. The scepter, the very symbol of rule, is now going to belong to his tribe.
Now for Joseph, the blessing is just one of immense fruitfulness and resilience. Even though he was attacked and hated by archers, and that's a clear shot at his own brothers, his strength never broke because it was sustained by God.
Jacob makes it clear. The blessings for Joseph are on another level. They're even greater than the ones he got from his own ancestors, Abraham and Isaac. It's just confirmation of Joseph's special, set-apart status, after everything he had to endure.
The other brothers, well, they each get their own distinct destinies, and each prophecy really reflects their character. Reuben, the firstborn, he's called unstable as water, and for that, he loses his birthright. Simeon and Levi, known for their weapons of violence, are told their tribes will be scattered throughout Israel. Zebulun is prophesied to live by the seashore, becoming a port for ships. And Benjamin, the youngest, is called a ravenous wolf, foreshadowing a tribe of fierce warriors. Each son's fate is now sealed, shaping the entire future of their people.
Okay, with the prophecy spoken, Jacob moves on to his final instructions. He is meticulously organizing his legacy, making sure that both his body and his spiritual teachings are handled with absolute precision. And his instructions are incredibly specific. He assigns each tribe a particular spot to carry his body, organizing them into a formation that actually foreshadows how they'll set up their camp in the future. He even exempts Levi, who will one day carry the Ark of the Covenant, and Joseph, who holds the status of a king. I mean, he is the patriarch to the very end. And here it is, his final spiritual charge. He's pleading for them to be unified, to forgive each other. He commands them to teach their children, and he entrusts them all to Joseph's protection. And then, crucially, he prophesies one last time. A future deliverer will rise up from their descendants to rescue them from hardship and lead them back home.
With his commands given, with his legacy totally secure, Jacob just peacefully passes away. The life of the third great patriarch of Israel comes to this quiet end. But the destinies he set in motion, they are just beginning to unfold.
But there was one final thing, one final act. Jacob gave all his books and the books of his ancestors to his son Levi. Now this is a critical detail. He's not just passing on blessings, he's handing over their secret history, the very memory of their people, to the family line that would become the priests, making sure their story would never, ever be lost.
So this all brings us to one final, really powerful question. Jacob's final hours weren't about death at all. They were about creation. Through his words, his blessings, his commands, the death of this one man sparked the birth of a nation's identity and the epic journey of 12 distinct tribes. His end was truly their beginning.